Happy Thursday and welcome to today's episode of Thursday Tech Bites. It's been a while. We're back at it. Sorry, busy, travel, stuff, it all happens, but big welcome today. My name is Rick Vanover. I'm on the product strategy team here, and I have two outstanding guests with me. Let's feed those in right now. We have Mark Polin from New Hampshire. How you doing? Oh, Massachusetts. Sorry, I got it backwards. I have 50-50 on that. How you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing great, Rick. Thanks.
And then we've got Matt Bator. I went left to center, not left to right. But how you doing, Matt?
I'll learn to forgive you. I am just Ducky, Rick.
Well, I'm not calling you from Massachusetts, so how about that? So
not anymore.
But, yeah, not anymore. You're in New Hampshire. Mark is in Massachusetts. I am in Ohio. One of our producers are in Georgia, and another one is over in Romania. Shout out to Alina. And I dropped it in the LinkedIn chat. Producers tell me we are live on 4 channels, 4 social platforms. Let us know the U.S. state or the country that you're joining from, and let's light up that application. I love to see what we get here. We've already had a lot of really good respondents from Africa, from Europe, India in the house, staying up late. Appreciate it. Let us know where you're coming from. Wisconsin. Hey, Randy, and others, multiple from Wisconsin. Anyways, all seriousness, we're going to really talk about a pretty tricky topic, hybrid cloud, hybrid world, and, application type backups there. So let's jump over to the slides here. And, this is a little bit different. You might see, oh, there's blue and Matt's got his Kasten jacket on. Matt, start us off here. What's the problem and what's the outcome of what we're going to solve here with what we're going to talk about?
Yeah, great question, Rick. Ultimately, hybrid cloud means a lot of different things to people, and it's not easy, right? I'm having to solve for infrastructure, for workload management, but I think the biggest piece is to make hybrid really work. I need to be able to take a workload that's in one place and ideally, burst it into the cloud or pull something back from the cloud. And that's really what kind of brings it all together. And I think that's what Cisco is trying to do with this validated design.
Yeah. So Mark, you're the solution architect aligned to the Cisco Alliance. You and your team do outstanding work in this regard. And, we're fresh off of a milestone here with the Cisco validated design. But tell me about, I love this phrase, day 2, day 1. Day 0, right? It works great here, or at least I'm starting here. Tell me a little bit about the journey.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Great to be here today. And, the Cisco validated design really walks through some of these day 0, day 1, day 2 challenges that customers have in their hybrid cloud journey. With day 0, it's, what's the right environment that I should be deploying on? Cisco, in this validated design with their HyperFlex platform, is really the focus, but it's not the only one, as we'll see. They also, because this is hybrid cloud, this isn't just, hey, we're running everything in the data center. It's, how do I leverage the public cloud for what the public cloud is really good at? Then, day 1, right? I'm actually getting into production, pushing that code, and Red Hat OpenShift was the platform that it was really Cisco, tested in the public cloud and in the HyperFlex data center. And then, the day 2 challenge is, how do I make sure all this stuff is running, stays running, gets protected against malicious actors and all the other threats out there. And that's where the Kasten comes in. But, it's not that black and white, because, Kasten's not just doing data protection. It's doing the application mobility that enables you to take that OpenShift application that was developed in the cloud and pull it back on-prem and deploy it where it makes the most sense for an organization to deploy it. So the CVD really does 2 things in this case. It documents and it pretty much gives you like a run book for, if I want to do this, how do I do this? but it also provides a lot of confidence and supportability for this overall solution for not just our common customers, but our common partners and folks that might be out there actually helping customers deploy these things.
Yeah, so Mark, you hit on a really solid list of stuff here, and let's dissect the stack here for a bit. And I think that when we talk about these application mobility profiles, that's near and dear to my role. And I don't want to say the bigger Veeam, but the heritage of Veeam, which is about portability, data freedom, those types of things. We've always had the ability to move stuff around, but the more complicated the stack, the more intricate the conversation gets. So Matt, walk us through this stack here. Maybe, I guess, start at the top or bottom, whichever way you want to go from like a K10 perspective.
Yeah. So I think from a stack perspective, we'll go bottom up. This really does all start with having an infrastructure solution that's going to address my, specifically my compute and storage needs, also my networking needs, basically getting a data center in a box with a HyperFlex solution that makes it really easy to, scale my on-premises environment to meet demand. And I know we'll touch on the OpenShift layer and Kasten a bit later. But Mark, I know this was kind of your slide. Do you have any other points on this one?
Well, again, just to talk about the journey, and I know that's an overused word, but I'm gonna go with it because it really, I think, it describes what we're talking about. If you look in the upper right, where you've got App X being developed and tested in AWS on OpenShift, right? It's using the AWS infrastructure, EC2, S3, what have you, but that's where the developers live. But in this use case, they want to deploy back on-prem, leveraging their data center assets.
Sorry, tried to do my Zoom there, Mark. I had a little fail, but I was trying to zoom.
No, that's all right. Yeah, so you've got the application in dev test, and now when it comes time to move towards production, you want to begin by staging that and ultimately bring it into production back on-prem, utilizing and stay back on-prem there, Rick, and just scroll down, if you will. You want to leverage your data center assets. So it's your Cisco HyperFlex, could be converged infrastructure as well. You've got a whole bunch of ingredients in this recipe here with VMware vSphere, the CSI driver, for HyperFlex, the OpenShift container platform. And when I look at this, what I really see K10 Kasten by Veeam K10's role is, it's not only providing that application mobility, it's not only providing the data protection of all these environments that, in most cases, with the exception of testing, I probably want to protect all of them. But it's to me, it's providing the glue that glues all these together. And I want to be respectful to our Cisco partners. There is one other thing that probably should be mentioned at the very top. It's Cisco Intersight, right? All of the assets in the data center can be managed and automated, which is a really critical piece with Cisco Intersight. It is a cloud-based software offering that we don't have enough time on this call to describe everything it does, but it's doing a lot here, making sure the environment is available, consistent with what I want it to be, and that it stays that way.
Well, Mark, you hit on something really big. Cisco is more than just networking, right? We're talking about a stack of converged platform here. We're talking about there's Intersight. There's a whole shed load of security products and other things, right? So there's a lot of education. The more you look into Cisco, the deeper you'll get. Speaking of a lot of stuff, we had an incredible feed of the map, and the producers have told me that the map application is ready. Let's take a quick look, and we've got Canada, we've got Brazil, we've got Ohio again, we've got Wisconsin. We need some more United States. Let's light up some states here. Let's go over to EMEA. We've got Germany. We've got Czech and Prague. We have Portugal as well. Let's go down to South America. And then let's do Africa then. We've got Ghana. We've got Egypt. And, test my
That looks
mapping
like Qatar
here.
over there.
Nigeria, Pakistan, India, and down south, is that Malaysia? That would be that's Indonesia. That's Indonesia, I think. We have it on the text. I could just look at the text, but
that's cheating.
I'm trying to be the world.
This is all
here.
Jeopardy training, I think.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right.
And Brazil, that one I don't even have to look for. So great action, and we're still taking here. Hey Brian, thank you there we go. We got Juan coming in from Costa Rica as well. We'll come back to the map application here in a bit. We have some fun with that. Again, across the platforms, let us know where you're from. Alina is going to be doing some mad copy and paste here. So now, Mark, you mentioned it, but Matt, let's talk a little bit deeper about the OpenShift. It isn't just a distribution. I'd argue it's more of a platform for Kubernetes apps. Matt, tell us a little bit about not just what this is from Red Hat, but where it sits in the ecosystem, because I think there's still a lot of education that is an opportunity for the market. And if any of y'all have questions, drop it in. We'll do our best to pull it out.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. So if what Mark had covered, on that first slide, especially relevant to how do I hit the easy button on my infrastructure, solves a lot of my day zero planning problems. OpenShift sort of we'll say bridges day zero through day one and into day two. It's basically the more I can streamline my platform management, the more I get to invest in the applications and services that basically drive revenue for a business. But without the right tools to make those innovations, or to make sure rather that those innovations are quickly moved into production, or that you could rapidly scale these things to meet demand, you're risking lost opportunity, right? So OpenShift basically becomes this crossroads for developers and for platform teams. Kubernetes can help organizations move faster. But I think fast for a lot of people also equals risk. And that's where we see so much in this. You use the word platform, and I totally agree. This is going far above and beyond just your basic kind of container orchestration, in that you've got all of these additional solutions built in to help address things like not just infrastructure security, but application security as well, from a container registry perspective, from an image scanning perspective, detection and response management. But then also, Mark mentioned before, developers live in OpenShift, and it's providing the right kind of IDE and related tools that basically treat developers as a first-class citizen within OpenShift. And I think that's what's given rise to this explosion of developers wanting to target Kubernetes as a platform, and in turn, why we've seen the number, going from very basic stateless workloads going back 5, 6, 7+ years ago, becoming very common on containerized platforms, to today. I want to run everything I can in this cloud native way.
Matt, I got a question on that. When we say in this cloud native way, one of the things, I'm on a journey like so many others, learning this new platform. By no means am I the expert, so I'm going to ask questions. But this cloud native way, at the bottom of the diagram, physical, virtual, public cloud, private cloud, and edge. One of the cool things, tell me if I'm wrong, that I've learned about Kubernetes orchestration platforms and OpenShift, for example, is you can really have this same kind of control plane, the same experience wherever it lives. That's, I can't use NSFW words on this show, but that's rather superior. Is that not true?
Yeah, no, it's incredibly true. I mean, one of the biggest benefits of containerized workloads in general was sort of solving the I gotta get my fingers in here. Where we go? There we go. It works on my machine problem of delivering software, right? But again, OpenShift sort of takes this to the next level where now I can have the same experience managing that platform on-prem, managing it in sort of all of these, when we say edge, we're not just talking about remote office, branch office, but true, IoT style edge compute locations, and then across all of your major public cloud providers, having that same management experience. It's night and day compared to what we might talk about for hybrid cloud for traditional just virtualized workloads.
So there's someone on the call, I'm going to quote them, you know who you are, the gentleman from Connecticut, who likes to say that the juice needs to be worth the squeeze. And so tell me if I'm wrong, Matt, but is it not worth the squeeze to learn these platforms to get that outcome of this night and day difference for this kind of consistent platform wherever you are? I think it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the learning curve for organizations in adopting cloud native architectures can be steep, but that's exactly why tools like this Cisco validated design make such a difference. And it really is just about how do I gain that competitive advantage as a business to develop applications faster, to be able to roll out updates and improvements to these applications, faster than my competition.
Outstanding. And speaking of faster, we have seen some incredible maturation for these stateful apps. And, there's a lot still to learn. And this is like what I would call the top technologies, according to Datadog. But there's still plenty more. But maybe, both of you walk us through, what does this mean? Is this tell us what people are running? Is this kind of what's inside? What's going on here?
So this is just this is just a standalone data point, but it is to really drive home the idea that Kubernetes is no longer just for what we would call stateless or ephemeral or non-persistent workloads, right? That's where the platform started, dating all the way back to 2015 or so, gave me great sort of scalability and high availability for my application tier, but with typically my data living somewhere else off of the Kubernetes platform. Now we're seeing, this increasing number of what we call stateful workloads or persistent workloads, databases in particular. So these are this particular data point is the most common kind of off-the-shelf container images as seen by the Datadog monitoring platform. So I mean, this is a huge number of data points, but we see things like Postgres, Mongo, MySQL among these, top 10 most common off-the-shelf container images. So it's just another data point demonstrating how mainstream running persistent workloads on Kubernetes has become. Ultimately, because the more I can, consolidate all of this on the platform, I'm improving my operational efficiencies. Right now, I only have one way of deploying, monitoring, lifecycle managing my application, as opposed to managing an application that's comprised of all of these disparate infrastructure pieces.
All right, I'm gonna surprise you maybe with a tricky question. So these data services, right? This would be the opposite of a stateless deployment, right? Which was not going to have data we care about. I'm not a DBA, but I do recognize a lot of those names of being data sources, right? Going a little specific on Kasten K10, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, there's basically a Helm chart for all of these data services where we can start using this for, the protection aspect as well, right? I mean, it's not as tough as it might seem. You don't have to master all of this. Is that right?
Yeah, it's certainly between Helm charts for simplifying distribution of software on Kubernetes, but also Red Hat's own innovation in this space. The operator framework has kind of taken that to the next level of giving developers again another easy button to say, hey, I want a production ready HA version of a Postgres database to start building, one of my microservices around. I hit a button, and a few minutes later, I've got that piece that I need. But protecting these things, I can't depend on my traditional solutions that I might use for virtualized environments or bare metal environments to protect Kubernetes applications. I need a solution that understands the application itself and really talks to the Kubernetes API directly. And that's exactly what Kasten does.
Yeah, that makes so much sense to have that more broader, again, I'm going to use the word platform with all the enterprise kind of clicks that you need, right? That just seems like the enterprise way to do it. So really good perspective. We're going to walk through a workflow here in a second, but producers just told me again, the application is ready. So let's see, we've got a few US states, Connecticut. Hello, Scott. You might have caught my quote. That piece of advice has stuck with me forever. We also have Washington State, Costa Rica in Central America, and then also Texas has joined. Oh no, what was the other country now? I think that's some Ethiopia, I think I can't remember the text. I'm guessing on my application. We've got Qatar, we've got, what's that? Oman. There we go. Friends, it's been a while since I've run them application, but thank you all for letting us know where you're at. And Germany has joined as well. That was an addition again. So cool. Thank you all for sharing where you are joining us from. Good stuff. All right. So let's take a look at a workflow here. Hybrid cloud at its finest with these persistent volumes and claims. There's a lot of terms here. Both of you, maybe walk me through how this actually works. What happens here?
Yeah. So basically, Kasten is a what we call a Kubernetes native solution for data protection. In that, not only is it talking to the Kubernetes API to understand an application. So on the left-hand side here, we see application X in its own namespace. This is probably going to be comprised of many different individual microservices, right? So imagine this is an e-commerce application. I've got middleware running some of my application tiers. I've got maybe a different, I've got a document database, something like a Mongo that's running my shopping cart, but I've got a transactional database, a relational database to store all of my order information, something like a Postgres. So I've got all of these different data services comprising this entire application, and to be able to protect that, I need to understand again all of these different deployments, all of these different stateful sets, but also everything else that binds them together in a Kubernetes environment. So all of my my config map data, secrets, services, a variety of different custom resources. So Kubernetes is an incredibly extensible platform. So we might have different custom resources in there, and then as soon as we add data to all of this, again, for my increasingly popular databases running on Kubernetes, I need to be able to interact with my underlying storage as well. So I need different tools to be able to capture. Often it's just snapshots, but I need to be able to orchestrate data consistency around those snapshots. Obviously, our wider Veeam audience here is probably very familiar with the concept of crash consistent is not good enough for databases. Very much the same thing in Kubernetes, except now, again, instead of orchestrating these things at an operating system level, an individual operating system in Kubernetes, one of our worker nodes, that could have dozens or hundreds of pods or containers running on it, spread across a number of different applications. So being able to, again, just parse out what makes up that application, what is the relationship to the underlying storage, and having a tool that can extract all of that into what you see as this restore point is really a Kasten backup, right? That's the recipe of how we put Humpty Dumpty back together. And it's not good enough to just get this on the cluster as a snapshot, but we also need the portability of being able to move this to some external object storage, file storage, even a Veeam backup repository server would be another option. And going back to that, this level playing field that OpenShift provides us from kind of on-prem. We'll pretend that's our primary cluster, and maybe OpenShift running on AWS as our target. This is what makes it trivial to then be able to import that same restore point into a different Kubernetes cluster, change anything about our application specification we might need. We call these transforms. So let's say, again, moving from HyperFlex on-prem to AWS in the public cloud, or vice versa, you're going to have different underlying storage, right? That's going to impact some of the metadata in my manifests that make up that app. I need to change that. There might be other changes that I need to make as I'm moving back and forth. So Kasten allows me to do that in flight and then easily restore that to a different cluster. So it opens up a lot of different use cases. Talking about hybrid cloud DR. Like I want to fail over into an AWS environment, so I'm not investing in a whole separate stack. I want to develop new applications in the public cloud and then be able to bring them back kind of steady state on-prem and everything in between.
Speaking of everything, we have everything covered. So Matt, Mark, this is outstanding content. A couple things I want to plug. First of all, at Veeam, we got a promo code if you still want to join us in Miami, VOMIAMI 1001, VO Miami 1001 discount code. And Matt, you're going to have a K10 workshop, 3-hour session. Everyone bring your laptop. We almost have that one full. That's going to be awesome. Mark, these QR codes go right to the CVD in a demo as well, right?
Yeah, so the one on the left will take you right to the CVD document. It is a beefy document, there's a lot to it. The one on the right, if you want the Reader's Digest abridged version, there is a YouTube video demonstration of taking the workload, the developer environment, bringing it back on-prem, doing the deployment. It's pretty much follows what the CVD does in about 8 or 10 minutes.
Awesome. And then the middle QR code is your free 5-node K10 license. We love our freemium here. Mark, Matt, thank you so much for joining us here on Thursday Tech Bites today. Tuesday on the 9th, the Industry Insights is going to dissect the IDC tracker data. Great new milestone there. Dave and Jason are going to go analyst on it. It's going to be outstanding. Thank you to our producers, Mark, Alina, and all of y'all watching us, and the collective all y'alls watching as well. And we're going to leave you with a quick teaser preview for Veeam.